Perhaps the most important one really is the question when you ask, like, how do you change the society to be more. There's a term for that. It's called world stabilization. So the idea is that the world currently technological trends, they are really volatile. So how do you create a more stable world that is not prone to destroying itself? And this is something that I think we need to put more effort in and try to think sort of non-traditional ways. We shouldn't, as Michael Russell said, we shouldn't grab the politics by the blade. so it's like if you do that, we just it's not going to get very far. But actually try to figure out ways to coalesce people who are generally concerned about the future and who are able to think in terms of probabilities and consequences, and then try to empower them in some ways to actually make sure that their decisions that are actually driven by the interest of the future. In my Singularity Summit talk, I said that there are people whose motivations are best aligned with the motivations of future generations. So we really have to figure out how to be better aligned with the interests of future generations, including the interest of not being dead, and then try to promote the people as far as the collective decision making on this planet is concerned. One thing is that people are quite largely driven by status signals. So it's not enough for a person. In order for a person to be persuasive, it's not enough for him or her to be right. It's also important for him or her to be deliver all the correct status and credibility signals. So that's why people who in a sort of position of great resources or power, it's actually very hard to reach them because you first of all they have very little time, and second is if you get a Singularity Institute fellow talk to them, they're not going to take him seriously because they immediately filter him out based on the lower status, so that's one thing where I'm hoping to help, because I can talk to people on my peer group and would not be seen as wanting money or attention. I could actually just talk about them anything, including things that I really think are important. And another thing that I'm trying to promote is creation of more organizations like Singularity Institute, and basically organizations that are concerned with the future, and especially good if they would be in sort of high status places to begin with, or high credibility places to begin with. Like, for example, there's a philosopher who just recently moved from Australia to Cambridge in UK, Hugh Price, and he and Martin Rees, who's another person concerned with future, they are currently in the process of setting up an organization in Cambridge that would be a bit similar to the Future of Humanity organization in Cambridge, in Oxford, sorry. So yeah, this is another trend that I really would like to see, that sort of high status, high credibility universities starting organizations that really do think about start working on the issues that really matter this century: biotech and AI, and existential risks in general. Well, Singularity Summit is great, especially for networking, because they still are a quite large event, so you can't really. You have this dilemma between having really broad topics that are interesting for a broad audience, which will get you a bigger bigger audiences and sort of higher credibility as an event, versus actually focusing on what's really, what I think are really important, but then these topics are not really accessible to general public, meaning that your event will also be lower credibility. So I think Singularity Summit has struck a pretty nice balance between those in this dilemma. So yeah, this is but I think it's more important than to listen to the presentations. There is actually to network and talk to people. But obviously, I don't know. Like I was going to say that some highly prominent politicians, but that probably would be the grabbing the politics by the blade again. In Estonia, I know many politicians myself, and I talked to them about these issues. But it's like I think they're really, that would be just like one issue in their pockets. so it's not, and it wouldn't get like enough steering influence in their behavior. And so yeah, it I think better than think about who would be the good mouthpiece for the cause, so to speak. I think better would be kind of create a new class of organizations and people who like kind of feed on each other's credibility, and therefore make it look important to outsiders by kind of instinctively important to outsiders, versus requiring them to actually go through the long reasoning process that they currently seem to be. But I'm optimistic in that. I think we're going to get more organizations such as Future of Humanity Institute and Singularity Institute, and we're going to get more of those popping up every year. So that this will be a bigger movement. I'll probably not do that at all. I'll just leave him alone because convincing people is just too hard, and so it's much better to actually find people who can be changed. There is the technical term for it that is people who update. So there is what it means is that people who have, there's a certain class of people who have a certain set of beliefs, and they are able to change those beliefs as a result of seeing new things, seeing new evidence, and hearing new arguments. But the vast majority of people are not like that. So it's I think it's more important to take this naturalistic view and actually first identifying if a person is capable of changing their beliefs, and if not, just stop wasting your time and move on. Unless that person is somehow really like about to push a button or something like that, then you really have to put in a lot of effort. But the vast majority of people who really stick to their beliefs and don't really change them regardless of what they see or what they do, they are also not capable of predicting the future, because in order to predict the future you have to take into account what you see around you. And so they have sort of Eliezer Yudkowsky has this nice metaphor that if you cover your eyes, you're blind, but if you put a cover between your eyes and your brain, you have like blind beliefs, in the sense that your beliefs don't really don't see the world, and don't look out in the world. So yeah, the nice thing about those people is that they are they're more likely to matter less, because their actions are not really directed towards achieving a particular future. So they kind of cancel out, so to speak. But yeah, whenever there is someone who is actually happens to be a president of US or something like that, someone in really influential position, first of all, that they would be more likely to be a person who is actually open to new beliefs, because whenever you get to some position, where you have influence, you're more likely to have adjusted along the way in order to get there. And once you have done that already, then you're actually more likely to adjust even further and home on the real problems we have. So yeah, I see this nice correlation between people who matter and people who are able to change their beliefs, and I wouldn't work too much on people who are like really close-minded. Just leave them alone. I mean, openness is obviously important. Transparency in all sorts of technological progress. Obviously, the openness is also like a tube, like sword with two blades or two sides. Like, because somebody could, if you have like Ben has the open source AGI project. The problem there is like somebody could just take it and take the source and run with it in theory. In practice, I don't think that's that is a very likely scenario. But yeah, I don't think I have a very good answer there. It's a really like, it's really a complicated question. Like I think the more general way of putting it is that as the technology gets more and more powerful, and assuming that we will not get a catastrophe in the next few decades, then it's the world gets more volatile in the sense that yes, the concentration of power can sort of escalate, and we see, in a way, we see that with U.S. military, for example. Their machinery is getting better and better, and so they actually will get more influence over the global situation.